One, two.
Hi.
Hi! Oh, Erin, you're looking extra fresh and beautiful today.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Emmy. And so are you with your beautiful braids, which
Yeah.
brings me to something to tell everybody. Hi, we're also on YouTube, guys.
Yeah, that's right. Welcome to the Video and Vinyl Club. I'm Emmy
Hmm.
Wildwood. I am a musician, a producer, an artist, an art director, a composer. I'll do the thing if you want me to do it. And this is my fresh-faced, gorgeous, indestructible
Mm.
queen, Erin Mars.
Oh, Emmy, you always give me such a nice, sweet build up there. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. I'm always so grateful for our friendship and that we get to spend time this way. I'm Erin Mars, everybody. If you've been listening, you already know that, but I am a writer, a director, pretty much all around artsy, fartsy weirdo. And I'm not going to change. And that's what I love about myself.
I wondered who was gonna say
So
fart first for the first time on the podcast. Just kidding.
I was having this moment the other day, and I was thinking about kind of the
Just
point
that.
of just the point of life, right? Like just like an easy thought, just one of those like easy questions. Oh, what's the point? What's the point of being here? What's the point of being on this planet?
Light stuff. It was the light stuff.
Like,
Yeah.
a little light pondering. And you know what I realized?
Huh.
I firmly believe, because I couldn't come up with really any other reason that kind of really makes sense. And this is obviously a question that I'll kick around again, I'm sure, at other aspects of my life. But I really think it's just to experience like joy and laughter.
Hmm.
Because if you're a plant, you can't laugh. Dogs
Hmm.
don't really laugh. Animals don't really laugh. But I think it's honestly just from my own understanding of something that makes me actually excited to be on this planet. It's that we're here to just simply, in so many ways, experience joy, right? I mean, obviously, there's going to be hard stuff you experience too, but I do think it's important to concentrate on the joy,
Yeah.
especially when it's winter and we're in February and it's cold.
Yeah, there was a big snowstorm the last 2 days, which made it prime movie watching weather. Why
Hmm.
don't I remember it snowing like this during last year's Super Bowl? Is it always like this during the Super Bowl? Like I don't
Uh,
remember that. Feels like weird that it's snowing. Like it should be nice weather outside when they're throwing the ball around and running around in the grass and
the weather that we experience during that time is usually snowing. And
yeah,
my
I
birthday's in the
just
middle of March, and I can't even tell you how many blizzards have happened on my birthday.
yeah,
Like so many. My birthday is
yeah.
always during like a hurricane, a rainstorm, a blizzard. It's like the big weather time is
Uh
right. Like and it's like right in the middle of March.
yeah.
So yeah, it's sloppy right now this time of year.
Do you know what? Speaking of snowstorms, I was
Yep.
literally thinking about this story the other day and I was like, I gotta tell Erin this. So you remember Lit Lounge?
Of course.
Okay.
For
It
anybody in New York, Lit Lounge was like this bar slash music venue that you'd have to like go downstairs to. There was DJs and it was like kind of a little bit of a coke den kind of
yeah.
situation. You would
Yeah.
walk in and it was like, ugh, like
Yeah.
little, like grimy rock and roll dudes who like maybe showered, maybe didn't, maybe were broke, maybe were rich. Can't really tell. It's a whole aesthetic. So it's like, ugh, like you never know what's going on.
That's like the best
And
description of Lit
yeah,
Lounge
it was
ever.
like, yeah, is this guy homeless or just like really hip? You can't tell.
Well, I know, right? And then there was a back room that you're
Yeah,
right. There was like a
yeah.
back room where like unmentionable things occurred. There was a
Hmm.
bathroom that was very, very small and dirty and stinky, and you would go downstairs to play shows. And let me just tell you, some of the world's best musicians played there. Like Nick Zinner played there, Morningwood, a bunch of other cool
Yeah,
New
no,
York
great
bands.
bands played there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had good booking. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very sad day when it closed, which was like 4 or 5 years ago, I think. But it reminded me of this one time that I played a show at Little Lounge, and there was a huge snowstorm. Now it's hard to book a show in New York City, especially as a young unknown band. And so when I got the show, I was like really excited about it, and it
Yeah,
was in March.
of course. Here we go.
And yep, and there was a giant blizzard, but
Hmm.
I went as it started. and I loaded in all my shit. My whole
Yeah.
band came,
Yeah.
and my band members were like, "Are we really gonna play this? There's a blizzard." And I was like, completely oblivious. I was like, "Of course, why wouldn't we do it? This show's been booked for months." And everyone was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
And they all showed up. And anyways, while we played, a huge blizzard happened, and like somehow all my friends ended up coming, but the blizzard occurred. It was the biggest blizzard in like 10 years or something like that. This is like 2008, maybe
Yeah.
2000.
I remember that being a really
Yeah.
bad one. I remember that one.
Yeah, it was like a really, really crazy one.
Yeah.
And we get above ground
Yeah.
and there's no cabs. They're like,
Of course.
nope, no
Yeah.
one's allowed
Forget
to
it.
drive. The
Yeah.
trains were shut down.
Yeah.
Couldn't take the train. So we're
Yeah.
trapped in the Lower East Side, and we see a limo. A limo is driving by, and the guy like rolls down the window and he's like, "How much you got?" And we're like, and we pool our money, and
Yeah.
it was like $200. We're like, $200. And he's like, "Done." And
Nice.
so like 11 of us get in the back of a limo in the middle of the blizzard, and he drives us back to Williamsburg, shit-faced.
That's a very New York story. I love
Right?
that story. Oh
Oh,
my
good.
God.
I
The
thought you
getting in
would
the
like
limo
that
story.
story. I
Oh,
thought you'd
dude.
like that. At the Super Bowl last night, during our big
Mm.
snowstorm, I feel like there was a message being sent about togetherness,
Yes.
about America, America, America. I have not seen that kind of American pride injected into his television audience
Yeah.
in many years.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's so funny this morning. I was like, "Nick, I have to confess something to you." Nick's my husband. And he was like, "What?" And I was like, "The Super Bowl made me feel wholesome and like it
Oh,
was, well, it did. I don't know.
yeah.
I liked that Kendrick Lamar, when he went up and played, which is its whole thing. I liked that he said all of his sort of like controversial things and nobody freaked out. I
Uh-huh.
liked that there was the platform given for it. Like we can sit there and eat it and listen. The world can sit there and eat it and listen for a minute while he tells us like that's the point of art, that's the point of music.
Yeah.
That being said, it was like pretty a strange choice. What do you think about Kendrick Lamar?
Uh, as him as the halftime performer,
Yeah,
I thought it was great in that it's the first time that there was a rap artist doing the halftime show fully, right? Like
yeah.
pretty much himself.
Was that the first time?
Yes. And
Oh,
there was a few years ago, remember, there was another performance, a lot of rap. Eminem was there, Dr.
oh
Dre, all
yeah,
those
yeah, yeah,
guys, but
yeah.
that
That
was
was
like a
awesome.
whole collective, and that was
Yeah,
amazing and like
yeah,
so interesting. And his halftime show was much more simple, very sparred down compared to what I think people are used to seeing. I mean, when Rihanna did the halftime show, while pregnant, let's remember that, and she's
yeah.
like dancing around and she's like getting lifted up in the air and she's getting put down and she's got all these dancers, but she's making it awesome and like sexy and glamorous. There is that element that I think often shows up in the halftime shows. His halftime show didn't really have that so much.
Yeah,
I thought the costumes of red, white, and blue and him centering that song about Drake or whatever, like as kind of the centerpiece was interesting. I think he had an opportunity to do something else there, but it's okay. I actually
yeah,
read an article about the New York Times that said something about that too, very similar. When it ended in my house, where I was watching it with my 3-year-old son and 5 teenagers who are super snarky town, I actually started clapping. I was like, yes, good job. Because I think it's a big deal.
yeah,
Like, it's a
yeah.
big
Of
deal. It's a
course.
lot of
Yeah.
people are involved. It's a huge effort. I thought he did a great job. I'm clapping. And they turned to me, they're like, Erin, why are you clapping? Why are you clapping? Stop clapping. It's so weird. Why are you clapping? We're in the living room, which only made me clap louder and harder. And I stood up and I was like, this is what we do when there's a good performance. It's the energy behind it. They're like, you're weird. So that only spurns me on.
Yes,
It's like
sure.
fuel for me. It's like, oh, you like
Yes,
that? Now I want to do it more. Now I want to do it
yeah.
more.
Yeah.
What was your take, Em?
So I think Kendrick Lamar is so cool. as my husband pointed out, like an art rapper. So usually we see a halftime person who has like got 90 hits so that like
Yeah.
everybody knows every single song that's being
Yeah.
played. And I thought it was pretty cool that it was lesser known. I mean, we have less and less opportunities to push music these days with
Yeah.
streaming.
Yeah.
Radio is on a tight hold, everything's payola, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
To grow an artist organically, meaning they get to play a show and they convert fans because they're good, you have to
Yeah.
make some pretty big moves. So I thought it was kind of a cool change to have someone
Yeah.
who was music was lesser known
Yeah.
being put in front of that audience. The Super Bowl is a little like a Disneyland experience, and
Right.
so I was nervous through the whole thing. I was like, are
Yeah.
people gonna
Get it.
get it?
Yeah.
And the thing that all you have to be able to get is like you're being gifted like a really ornate, amazing performance. You can do what you want with it. I thought he was
Yep.
great. I loved his
Yep.
backup girls. They were funny and cute. I love Samuel L. Jackson up there. Being up there, I thought that was pretty great. We saw SZA guest perform,
Yeah, she was
and
amazing. She did
yeah,
a phenomenal job. I thought that was actually one of the highlights. I kind of wish she had been in it more.
I'm obsessed with SZA.
Yeah,
Like,
obsessed.
I don't
Yeah.
know if I've liked anybody who dominated airways in such a long time. She's so cool. She also is someone who has really pushed her way to the top, meaning she got kicked off her label, she got sort of suppressed radio play,
Yeah.
and just kept going. I respect people who keep going, who aren't just like bitter and give up.
Yeah.
I just got to keep going.
Yeah.
She's just really creative. I mean, her song, I Might Kill My Ex, you know
Mm-hmm.
that song?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I feel like that was this ages. He hit me and it felt like a kiss.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those songs like I didn't love to sing along to it, which to me shows artistic genius in the sense that you're uncomfortable. You're
Yeah.
like, I don't want to sing this out loud. Like it's not,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
feel
yeah.
nervous singing to it. So to
Yeah.
me, like that's massive art.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not you agree with putting out that kind of art, that's not for me to decide, but I will
Yeah.
say that it's very creative choice making. Just sort of like
Yeah.
Taylor's Hi, it's me, I'm the problem, it's me. Like she
Yeah.
got the whole world to admit that they were the problem. Like that
Mm-hmm.
to me, I hate singing that song, but to me it's like probably her best thing she ever did just because of that. Like on a like art level. But, we're not talking about Taylor. Although we could.
We
You
could
s-
talk about Taylor because
yeah.
who won the Super Bowl last night? Oh, the Eagles. Let's go,
Go Birds.
Birds. So, my house is a big Eagles house. We were
Yeah.
all really excited about that. I mean, I have to say, you know, having the Eagles lose the Super Bowl a couple years ago, that was tough. But then having them win this time was amazing. But they really dominated. Did you watch the game?
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was insane. Like the first half, it was like, uh,
Yeah, the
are the
Chiefs were
Chiefs even
just like,
trying? I was like,
yeah.
what's going on? I mean, we just freaking smashed them and it felt good. I was like, yeah, yeah. Like my whole house, everybody was so nervous the whole day. My stepson was like pacing all day. He's like, I can't sit down. I can't sit down. I can't do this. I can't do that. My husband's like, I got to keep busy. I got to keep busy. Everybody was just trying to do stuff because everyone had all this energy. We're so nervous about the Super Bowl, so nervous. I was like, yes, give us a win. Like, yeah, it was freaking awesome. I mean, we were standing up, screaming, cheering at certain points. I mean, those interceptions where,
Yeah.
Mahomes throws the ball and one of the Eagles guys just grabs it and starts running. I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
All we ever hear about are Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. And
oh,
and and
it's so
and
boring.
and that's literally all we ever hear about.
Yeah,
And like they became
yeah,
darlings or something of the media, and they didn't do much last night. Oops.
yeah.
Oh, they booed Taylor.
Yeah, that I didn't love.
What's up with that?
I think that, look, Philadelphia Eagles fans have a bad rap. Phillies fans in general, okay, for all the sports teams, pretty much have a bad
Mm,
reputation
yeah.
of I don't know if you've seen any of the jokes on TikTok or Instagram of like Phillies fans. One of them was like, getting ready for the Super Bowl. Start my day by breaking out of jail. Then I go like it's just all this stuff of
Yeah,
like they're just
yeah,
kind of jerks like
yeah.
in every way.
Yeah.
And they talk about how like even if we win, I'm practicing smashing in windows and practicing
Yeah.
like destroying the city. Even if we like when we win, I'm
Mm.
gonna like tear the city apart and riot.
Yeah.
Which that's, that's happened, so it's based on truth. But they're known as being nasty. They're
Yeah.
just nasty. It's like they're really uh not the nicest fan base and
Mhm.
very, very loyal to their team. And I don't think it's something about Taylor at all. I think it's just you're the girlfriend
Of
of a
the
Chiefs
team.
player.
That's good.
And so whatever, like
Okay. Because I was kind of confused. I
as
didn't
to why
really,
they booed her.
yeah, 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 yeah. I didn't know if, like, I'm glad it was that because that's healthy booing. Can
Yeah.
there be healthy booing? There
No,
is healthy
exactly.
booing. Yeah.
But it's
It's
almost
like,
like they're just like sore winners, even in a sense. And I'm
yeah.
saying that as somebody who's also a fan, right? It's like, it's like, come on, guys. We already won. We humiliated them. Mahomes looked like he was going to cry like 5 times. Do we need to
Oh,
boo Travis Kelce's girlfriend? Do we?
no,
No.
no.
But I think it's also this thing of, they've won 2 Super Bowls before, the Chiefs.
Mm,
Had they
yeah.
won, that would have been 3 Super Bowls in a row that had never been done before. So they had all this like potential to kind of like make history and do this and do that.
Yeah.
And I think there is a little bit of just what's happening in like the landscape socially. People are
Hmm.
tired of certain things. I'm tired of hearing about the Chiefs. I'm tired of, people are always
Yeah.
saying like some of the calls that get made against them are like not good. Like I remember when we played them before and it was just calls were being made where the Chiefs are not getting called out for certain things. The Eagles were getting called on other things. Last night's game felt a lot more fair to me. I'm not just saying that because we won, but like it felt way more fair.
I felt like lots of people were rooting for the Eagles and it was fun.
Yes, yes. And I have to say, being that Taylor Swift, one of her best friends is Blake Lively or was Blake Lively. I don't
Oh
know where they
yeah.
stand now. It's very noticeable where when like
Blake
that Blake
isn't
was
there.
not there, and I think like with the stuff that's been going on with the lawsuits with Justin
Justin.
Baldoni and all the stuff that's coming out, which frankly, I mean, I saw that movie, you saw that movie, It Ends With Us.
Hmm.
I think it's a lot of huff and puff about a movie that's not that great. It was
No.
fine, but it was not that great. And then all we're hearing about the movie is this that it's not a good look. Like I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to be associated with that. So if
Yeah.
Taylor's putting some distance there between them, at least, publicity wise, I think that's not a bad idea. I don't have all the details. I don't really
Yeah.
know. Now Justin's releasing text messages from her and all this other
Well,
shit. And it's like,
he created a whole website about it. Like to me, that's the kind of shit that is sus.
let's talk about the movie today. So, talking about belief systems and talking about the way people react to things and the politics that are sometimes involved in large scale organizations. Today's film, which we're going to discuss, is up for Best Picture nomination for the Oscars. It's also up for the Best Supporting Actress nomination, which is interesting because there's very few actresses in this movie. And it's called Conclave.
Mhm.
Now, if you're like me and you didn't grow up as a Catholic, conclave is the gathering that happens where there's an assembly of cardinals and they come together for the election of the next pope, right? It's also the meeting place for a conclave. It's a private meeting. It's basically just a private meeting. All
Yeah,
right. So,
I looked up the Latin root of it and the Latin root means a room with a door that locks.
okay. A room
Isn't
with a
that
door that
interesting?
locks.
Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting. And this film, I have to say, I was very surprised. I think part of the reason why I have been not so excited to see this film, I'll tell you, just looking at the poster for the film, it's like a cross and it says Conclave, and you see like one of the cardinals standing there, and then there's more guys in the background. And I'm just like, cool, another film about men in the Catholic Church. Pfft, like, don't need to hear about that anymore,
Mhm.
Woo, great. But I was very, very happily surprised by this film. And I
Mhm.
think that if people like actually mysteries, you should see this film. This felt like a mystery film to me. It
Yeah.
felt like we were almost watching a detective story. It was fascinating. The
Yeah.
tension in it was incredible. Now, this is based off of a 2016 novel called Conclave by Robert Harris. And I mean, I couldn't believe I hadn't seen this movie yet. Actually, watching it today, I was like,
Mhm.
this is amazing. What was your take?
Well, why don't you give a little synopsis? I loved it. I thought it was great. I watched it twice already, but
Yeah. So, okay. So, small synopsis. So, it's a political thriller directed by Edward Berger and written by Peter Strahan, which is based on the book, as I told you. And it stars Ralph Fiennes, Stanley Tucci, John Lithgow, Sergio Castellito, and Isabella Rossellini.
and
Um,
Isabella's who's nominated for the.
yep.
Wow, I'm surprised, but go
Yeah.
on.
Now, Isabella Rossellini is absolutely stupendous freaking actress.
She's
Now,
the best.
she
I
is the best.
love
If you're
her.
not familiar with her and some of her work, I highly, highly recommend you watch the film she did about the sex lives of insects, where she's dressed up like insects.
What?
And it's phenomenal. She does such amazing, strange
She's so good in
art, and
Death Becomes Her.
she's just so strange. And I love
Yeah.
it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm here for it. I am here for it. She plays one of the nuns. And in the film, Cardinal Thomas Lawrence, who's played by Ralph Fiennes, he has to organize the conclave because the Pope has passed. And so they're going to be electing the next Pope. And he finds that he starts investigating some secrets and some scandals about a few of the different major candidates that are up to be the next Pope. And so his leading candidates, you see it first. There's some of the cardinals are already getting together and they're like, look, what way do we want the church to go? We want it to be more liberal. We're going to try to push this guy to be the next pope. We think he has the belief system. This is who we want to back. And if we let this other guy win, he's the more conservative guy. I think the church is going to go in a bad direction because he's going to bring us back into the past. We're trying to move forward. And I feel like these are pretty legitimate arguments that people could make, like currently about the Catholic Church, which now I feel like has gone in a little bit of a better direction. But,
Mhm.
about like the conservatism, not accepting people who are homosexual, the rights of women, their views on all that kind of stuff. It's tough. They've
Yeah.
not been the most supportive in a lot of ways. And you even see that in the film in regard to women's role in the Catholic Church. They are not involved at all. This is a bunch of
No.
cardinals. It's a sausage party. There's, there's like
Mhm.
no ladies around. The nuns, as they do, are cleaning the rooms and cooking the food and doing all of this stuff for the men who are
Yeah.
the priests. And that alone, obviously, that was a very traditional thing. There has been a shit ton, just, truth here. So much abuse against nuns in the Catholic Church.
Mm.
That is not talked about enough. They
Yeah.
live in poverty. They
Mm.
have been abused so much, often by the priests within the church, right? And that has always really, really bothered me even before that statistic came out and the study on it happened. That's a total side note about myself,
Yeah.
but and my own feelings in the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
Anyway, we see this in the film. We see that, the women are totally sidelined. They're just support staff. And it comes out as we go through, one of the prefects from the papal household comes to see Cardinal Lawrence, and this is before they get locked in for the conclave. And he's like, I have to tell you something. I should have come before. It's just been tearing me up inside. But the Pope dismissed Cardinal Tremblay right before he passed away, and it was because of something he found out, and they got into a fight and he left. And
Yeah.
so else, somebody else was there and they witnessed it too.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, like, so what is this report that the Pope got? What is this thing? He doesn't know. Now, after the Pope has passed, they seal his room. So no one can get in there. No one's looking at the papers. Nothing's happening. The person who's going to come in next will be the next Pope, right? So as the film goes on, he starts to find out more information. People are approaching him with information about some of these other cardinals that are potentially up for Pope. And you realize pretty quickly, and I think this is very true, there is a political agenda behind many of these guys' desires to be high-ranking officials in the church in the first place. To
Yeah.
be a cardinal, you've worked your way up. You've, shown your due diligence and you've gone to the top. And right before they begin, a new cardinal shows up, and he is from Kabul, which we know is in Afghanistan. And this is a man who has worked in the Congo. He has worked in a lot of war zones. They did not know he was a cardinal. He had been made a cardinal basically in secret to protect his identity in some ways and the work that he was doing. But they look through the papers. He's legitimate. Okay, you can come in to vote on who's the next pope. So we keep going from there, right? But there's this moment where what I love about having that character there, and that's Archbishop Vincent Benitez.
Hmm.
He comes in and he has been so away from this world of like the political side games and, the getting like the inner baseball workings that are happening
Yeah.
with these
Yeah.
other cardinals,
Yeah.
that he's almost able to like zoom out and
Hmm.
see really clearly what's going on.
Yeah.
He's like, I see this person wants to be the pope, but they have a political agenda. Like, I'm not going to vote for them. Or
Hmm.
I see this person and it's like, I'm not voting for them. Like, I want to vote for, he tells Cardinal Lawrence he's going to vote for him because he believes he has kind of like the purest intentions. And Cardinal Lawrence is like, I do not want to be the Pope. And so
Yeah.
the film keeps going. And we see from the outside, as these guys are encased in this own little world, as they're trying to figure out who the next pope will be. And this happens for several days because unless you have to have 2/3 to win the papacy.
Hmm.
Nobody's getting there. So it's like they have to keep voting again. And then they go through again and they go through again. And so it's like the days keep going and the days keep going and the days keep going. But as this is happening, certain things, the outside world is creeping in. The floor shakes. There is a bombing. Then a few days later, there's a car bomb right outside where they are that like blows off part of the roof. We're seeing these things like coming in, coming in, coming in, and the
Hmm.
tension rising and rising and rising. I don't want to give away the whole film. I think
Yeah.
it absolutely, in so many ways, the story is actually beautiful and really interesting and
Yeah.
kind of hits these delicate notes of, it's like, how do I want to say this?
Delicate notes of mm, ethical relevance
Yes.
or relevance to the ethics we are sort of debating every single day on the news right now. Well,
Yeah.
first of all, it's obviously a fictional story. I had to look it up because I was like, wait a second, this isn't,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't follow the Catholic Church. My
Right.
experience with the Catholic Church is I have friends who are Catholic. I have respect for all faiths.
Yeah.
You worship the way you please as long as it hurts no one. That's my whole thing. So, and they do discuss that in the movie. The first time I watched it, it felt very slow to me. And then the ending like hit me over the head. It has kind of a surprise ending. And the reason why Erin can't really give you the full synopsis is because each thing that happens unlocks kind of a secret of
Yes.
what's
And that's why
happening.
it felt so much like a mystery film to
That's
me.
right. It did. It
Because you're
did.
watching it and you're like, oh, whoa. Like you're
Right.
learning more and more and more. And you feel at first like maybe it's going to be slow paced. It's definitely not. It's
Yeah.
definitely not. Like it was fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Like this
And
is good writing. This is
yeah,
really, really strong writing.
it
This has
is.
strong direction. I
Yes.
understand after seeing this why this is in the best picture category. I
Oh,
completely
absolutely.
agree with that nomination. I
Yeah.
really, really
I
do.
I do too. I do too. And I just wanted to say, like, to your point about it being a sausage factory, essentially this movie is showing that a the Catholic Church and the people in charge of the Catholic Church in the inner workings of the Catholic Church is not unlike any other political situation, the dynamics between the
Yep.
people, the power struggles, and that uh, there is just as much kind of corruption and finagling and
And
moving of the
greed.
pawn pieces and greed
Yes.
exactly.
Yes.
And the movie starts where the Pope at the end of his death, one of the cardinals is explaining that the Pope at the end of his death was having questions about the Catholic Church. He was having doubt. And there's a lot of themes about how doubt goes hand in hand with faith and that you
Yeah.
can't have faith without having doubt. And we
Yep.
need both things.
Yeah.
And I just thought a lot of the themes were really relevant, that it's like okay to not know, that zero people are without sin.
I completely agree. And I
Yeah,
thought that that was such a beautiful
I
point that they
loved it.
made. There's
Yeah.
that speech Ralph Fiennes gives before they go into the voting and they get locked into the conclave. He gives, a talk to everybody. And one of the things I
Oh,
actually
that was
wrote it
so good.
down because I
Yeah,
thought it was so beautiful. He says, if there was only certainty and no doubt, there would be no mystery and therefore no need for faith.
that's right. And isn't the
Wow.
idea that certainty is the most possible evil thing? Like you cannot, sir, I love that. No one is saying it that way right now. And
Yeah.
and that's sort of what's scaring people about, well, we don't have to go into it, but our current political climate, because
Right.
everybody is so certain that they're right. No one is trying to see the
Right.
gray area. And
Right.
that's what I think is beautiful about this movie. But just to go back a little bit,
Yeah.
to talk about how there's just as much of a power struggle and that nobody is without sin. And earlier you said it being a sausage factory. Sit,
You love that
I
term that I use.
thought it was hilarious. But it
True.
it what Erin means is the cinematography absolutely exceptionally depicts that we are dealing with a ton of men. There are
Yeah.
like they show the men under their umbrellas. It's all these big cliques of men. They show all the men in their hats. I mean, tons of hats. It's got to be several hundred people. You see several hundred cigarette butts. You see several, like the imagery and some of the shots are like so powerful for understanding how many people we're dealing with, how many
Yes.
men specifically we're dealing with. Second
Yes.
of all, they show a lot of imagery of what's actually happening. There's a lot of drinking, there's a lot of smoking, and a lot of things happening in the shadows. These men are not what we imagine in our head to be happening like at a monastery or the Vatican. This is not how we imagine the Vatican, smoking in the hallways. And I listened with my
That's
headphones.
that's funny you say that though, because I do think of it that way.
Oh, really? I don't.
Yeah.
But
I think of it as like it's Italian.
Yeah, I
Like
guess
in
so.
Europe, people are smoking still. I was just in Paris and everybody's smoking outside. Two dudes were like
Yeah.
literally going through a pack of cigarettes. It was like whoosh, whoosh, whoosh,
Yeah,
just
I
going,
guess.
going, going, going. I think it's an international crowd. To me, that's how I took it was like it's real. People,
Yeah.
these guys they have nothing else they can do.
Right. I
Like
guess so.
they
And then
can't do anything else.
that, I guess that's true, but that's like when you're sort of liquored up and I don't know, it's like these are the people who are making all these decisions on like it's different. Like I guess there's
Hmm.
just not. And then I was listening with my Bluetooth headphones to like to the movie this morning, and I didn't notice the first time, but like there's constant whispering happening. So
Oh
talk about
yeah.
like a level of paranoia, a level of like
Yeah.
wondering. I mean, it's just kind of not the environment. It's sort of cutthroat. It's a
Oh
cutthroat
yeah.
environment, and it's not the sort of peaceful, pious, you know, light, like everything's happening in the shadows.
Yeah.
It's very dark shots, almost to the point in certain times you can't see what's happening on the screen.
Hmm.
And it's beautifully shot. The colors are amazing. It's very saturated again, but saturated and muted somehow at the same time. I don't know, because we're dealing with very dark tones and
Hmm.
costumes are beautiful. I just thought it was a gorgeous movie. And that alone, best picture, I totally understood. But it's to have the story be just as exciting as the cinematography is. I mean, that's what we're looking for a best picture nom. So
Yes.
I can see it. And the acting was amazing. I will say the Isabella Rossellini thing kind of surprises me. She's not in it much.
Well, exactly. And I think
Yeah.
that's why she gets I almost feel like politically, okay, because let's just even talk about the Oscars. This is an award show. What are award
Yeah.
shows? They are a vehicle for promoting a project to get more
Yeah.
money for the project by getting it seen more. So Ralph Fiennes, to me, had such an incredibly emotionally nuanced performance in this film.
Mhm.
It's not surprising that he is nominated as a best actor in a leading role
Mhm.
for the Oscars this year. I I felt this was almost like I was seeing him as an actor for the first time. And I have definitely seen many other films he's been in.
Mhm.
He was to me incredible.
Yeah,
He
I
was
agree.
just absolutely incredible. They did not get cinematography.
Hmm.
They did not get directing.
Huh.
They did get editing, film editing,
Okay.
for Nick Emerson. They did get for music, for original score. The music I
Really?
thought was beautiful. Yeah, I
Yeah,
felt
it
like the
was,
music
but
really kind of supported, like landed you in the
yeah,
world. It
yeah,
really made you feel like you were there. You're
yeah,
in Rome.
yeah.
They are a Best Picture nominee.
That's
And
cool.
production design. Production design was fantastic.
I totally agree with production design. Like that to me, the just remember them sitting in the theater with the blue seats and they're in their red robes and there's just like a little plop of light right on the
Yep.
I mean, geez, we've seen stories about choosing the Pope before in movies, and we've seen stories
Hmm.
about cardinals, and it was sort of
Hmm.
a new, fresher sort of take
Take on
on.
everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I'm going to give you some of the religious responses that happened.
Interesting.
So, John Malderig of the Catholic OZV News said about Conclave that rival viewpoints within the church are caricatured with a broad brush, and the deck is predictably stacked in favor of those who advocate for change. He warned that all moviegoers committed to the church's creeds will want to approach this earnest, visually engaging, but manipulative and sometimes sensationalist production with caution.
Yeah.
The Archdiocese of Los Angeles in Angelos magazine praised several of the actors' performances, but ultimately dismissed the film, writing, "The problem here is not that it is full of bias against the Catholic Church. The problem is that it is just plain bad. At the crucial moment, Benitez gives a speech so full of platitudes, it could have been written by ChatGPT.
What?
On the other hand, the progressive National Catholic Reporter praised the film, calling it a compelling and ecclesial call for renewed spiritual stewardship characterized by humility, meekness, and curiously, doubt. Kate Lucky of Christianity Today, an evangelical publication, called the film gorgeous and riveting and said that though the film subtly advances progressive convictions, it gives cardinals of all ideological persuasions equal opportunity to fall short.
Wow.
Conversely, the Bishop of Winona Rochester, Robert Barron, dismissed it as Oscar bait and termed it a film about the Catholic Church that could have been written by the editorial board of the New York Times.
Well, that is a very like just what you might expect. People having all different kinds of opinions. So
Yeah. And
it was a
it's gotten some memes about it, comparing the film to RuPaul's Drag Race and the Real
what?
Housewives.
That's weird.
Other comparisons were also made to media such as Mean Girls, while the elimination of various cardinals in the film was compared to reality television shows like Survivor or The Bachelor. And there's like noted memes comparing the characters in the film to real life figures such as Donald Trump and Kamala Harris.
All right.
Um,
Let's just say Conclave is just like Mean Girls.
let's get to it then.
Okay.
What is your vinyl record rating?
I'm gonna give this one a 7.
Hmm.
Is that low? I don't know. I liked it, but I had to watch it twice.
I'm gonna give it an 8. I think this is
What?
the first film where I'm rating it higher than you.
Mm.
Or actually, no, maybe it's not the first film because I think Nosferatu I also gave a higher rating than
Yeah,
you.
but I guess my question is like how much I like would want to watch it again.
I think, part of the feedback on this film that I was just talking about with, how people in religious institutions reacted to it. I think
Hmm.
that it's a film that for people who, are more in that world, and I mean people with a Catholic background or that kind of thing, that this film is a little bit more charged. But I
Hmm.
looked at it without that lens. And I saw it as really like, it felt almost like a murder mystery.
Yeah.
It really felt that way to me, like the way that it
Yeah.
was written and the tension behind it, which I was
Yeah.
not expecting at all.
Yeah.
And I did like that there was things that came out that were like about, you know, these guys who are supposed to be leaders in the church, and therefore you would expect or believe that
Hmm.
they would have a higher moral ethic in the way that they act, don't behave that way.
Yeah,
And that
exactly.
essentially they're just human beings who are fallible like anybody else.
Right,
And I
exactly.
think that so often we believe politically too that when we're having people who come into these places of power, that somehow they have a higher level of ethics than other people. Now, the ideal, yeah, we would love people to have a high level of ethics who are in these decision making roles. Do they? No, not
Well, that's
necessarily.
why you have to be careful of who you blindly trust in the world in general. And
Yeah,
so yes, that is gripping to me. I will
yeah,
say that I don't love, I've told you this before, like courtroom movies.
yeah. No, I know.
They're not my favorite thing. I
Yeah,
but I do feel like it was refreshing as much as a shadowy movie about the Catholic Church can be refreshing.
yeah,
Was refreshing take on this kind of story. And so,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, whatever. I'm gonna give it an 8. I feel
Well,
like
that's
it.
so funny because I was thinking I was going to drop mine back to 7.
So there you go. I don't know. It sounds
Maybe
like
we
we
should just say
agree.
7.5 for this. We'll
Yeah,
come
we
together in the
agree. Aaron,
middle.
Aaron and I agree 7.5.
7.5.
But we agree that it's 7.5 and that Conclave is just like Mean Girls. Great. It's been a great episode. Just kidding.
Thanks everybody for listening. We appreciate you being a part of our community and helping support us as we have this lovely podcast. And we can't do it without our lovely listeners. So
So wherever you are listening, please leave us a 5-star rating, visit us, and follow us at Instagram, Video and Vinyl Club. And make sure you tune in next week to see another Oscar film and talk about that. And because we're going to watch them all before the Oscars on March 2nd.
yeah.
Erin, it's been rich.
It's been rich.
We've had a great day.
Yeah, we've had a great day.
That was a
We've
deep,
had a
long
great day.
talk. Deep, long
Yes.
talk. Okay.
Yes. All right.
All right.
Love ya. See you
Peace
next
be
time.
with,
Thanks,
peace be with,
everybody.
peace be with you.
Peace be with you.
I love you. Bye.
Love you.
1, 2.